Hard work doesn't make you look senior, but impact does. This is what a lot of us get wrong. And today I want to talk about why and of course what we can do about it. But first I want to show you the impact pyramid. Think about a pyramid with 3 levels. At the very base of this pyramid, we've got all the activities. These are all the things that you do on a day-to-day basis, on a regular basis, all your deadlines, all your deliverables, everything that you deliver and you put your time on a day-to-day basis is called the activities. Is what you do, is all the process, all your workflow, all your way of working, everything. This is the basis. And in the middle layer, we've got the outcome. It's everything that you've concluded, everything you've recommended, and everything that you have created. If you think about the activities as the input, it's obvious to think that the outcome is going to be the output of that input. So whatever activity you do, it will result and yield in some sort of a outcome. So that is the middle layer. And at the very top, we've got the impact. So far you've done some activities and you have created some outcomes. But when it comes to impact, you have to show what has changed because of it. Or why did that thing even matter in the first place? And that is where we want to go, the top of the pyramid, the impact, instead of all the activities and the outcomes. These are all well and good until the moment that everything goes wrong. And here it is. It is the most fundamental, basic feature that separates a junior from a senior person in terms of communication. And it is simply the direction they follow in this pyramid when it comes to their way of working, communication, and even project planning. What a lot of junior people tend to do is take the bottom-up approach. They do a lot of activities, some of them result in some outcomes, and then they may or may not even create an impact. But how a senior does it? They start top down. They start with an impact, then they define outcomes, and then they talk about activities. This fundamental thing is exactly what separates a junior versus a senior communication. If you're talking bottom up, you're probably talking in terms of a junior. It doesn't matter what your title is. Even if you're a senior, if you're an executive, if you talk like that, you're positioning yourself in terms of a junior. If you start communicating top down, then even if you are a junior, if you're a specialist, if whatever you are, you're putting yourself into more executive presence, more showing seniority in the way you communicate, you present yourself, and the way you do your job. And here is how it might look like. Now, when we are in a junior position, because a lot of the value and the things that the company is asking for us is in terms of the activities and the deliverables and everything that we have to do on a day-to-day basis, somehow we dictate that to ourselves or create this value in our head that we need to be doing a lot of activities in order to be impactful. So a lot of juniors, what do? They start doing a lot of activities, filling the most bottom layer of the pyramid up with so many different things, thinking that being busy, keeping busy is going to differentiate them from others. And it might to a certain extent, but it's not the way that you would want to go to be a senior. And then some of those activities result in a few outcomes which might or might not receive great or negative feedback from the leadership. And then it might or might not even create impact on a higher level. Or even if it does, the junior person usually doesn't have the means to communicate that this is their being, this is what they did, and this was their thought and opinion. And how would a senior do it? They would think about the impact first. These 3 things are the impact that I want to create in the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. For these outcomes to become true, I need to have a few outputs, a few outcomes. So filling up the middle layer, and then we go to the bottom layer. So in order to create those outcomes, what kind of activities do I need to do? And whenever I need to communicate, I never talk about all the activities. I only talk about the outcome, and I only talk about the impact. Let me give you 2 scenarios that you might resonate with. In the first one, think about a junior or a starter or someone who has been in a job for a few years that want to take the next step. And they're actually really interested in coaching others. So one of the impacts that they have made for the next 6 months, 12 months, I don't know what their time period would like to be, but they have created an impact or an end goal for themselves to be trusted to coach others and step into the next step and become a team lead. This is the impact. This is what they want to create. And at the end, this is what the business would like to see from this person in order to give them that promotion. So if that is my impact, I need to define a couple of outcomes for that impact to become true. So a couple of outcomes could be juniors actively seeking my guidance and help in different projects or different areas of expertise that I might have. The other outcome is that others see me as influential, is that I have an opinion and I have ideas that I can articulate to other people that actually creates an impact and have an influence on them. Or another could be that I need to broadcast and talk about the expertise and the areas that I'm a specialist in, so that other colleagues can recommend people who are dealing with the same problem to me. Therefore, I become the trusted person who can coach and guide others. So now we have an impact, we have an outcome, and it's easy to define the activities right now. We could start showing our expertise in Lunch and Learns, talk about all the projects and the stuff that we are super proud of, so that people see what we are an expert in and can ask us for help and guidance. Maybe I also need to broadcast this, that I'm open for coaching opportunities. So if anybody is interested, if anybody is dealing with something that I might be able to help, please shout. Or other things like, maybe I need to learn how to give feedback. I need to learn how to coach other people. How much guidance do they need? What are the personas of people who are actually coachees that would like to ask my opinion? Maybe I need to create templates, guides, frameworks, things that people start to think of me as a thought leader, therefore ask and seek my opinion and guidance whenever they hit an obstacle. You see what we did there? We defined the impact, outcomes, and then the activities. This way we can show what change we created, why it mattered, what we created, concluded, or recommended in order to make that impact happen. And at the very bottom, these are all the stuff that we did in order to make all of those things happen. Or another scenario could be where you want to create an impact in which you want to increase the customer satisfaction score by 10%. This is the impact you want to create. This is your KPI for the next 6-12 months. And for this impact, you have to have a set of outcomes. This could be, for example, if customer support makes fewer errors, or ensuring that we have enough Q&A and self-support before customers even actually call us and make us busy on our frontline office. Or another outcome could be that all the cases and everything that a customer raises has to be finished and resolved in one go. So no escalations. So now what kind of activities do we need in order to create those outcomes and impacts a reality? One of the activities could be that we start doing customer journey mapping. We identify the pain points. Maybe we do customer interviews to understand what it is that actually is costing this low customer satisfaction score. Or maybe we need to start closing the feedback loop so that the data doesn't leak and we just do not see what is happening with our customers. I think you got it, right? Again, we started with impact, outcome, and then activities. We always want to go top, bottom instead of bottom up. This is what will separate you from everybody else. So now the most important thing is to start communicating this like a senior. And here's the formula that you can use. I did this activity, which led to this outcome, resulting in this impact. So now thinking back about our second scenario, this is how you could communicate it. I did customer journey mapping, which led to the most painful and severe pain points of the customer, resulting in starting 3 new optimization projects to ultimately increase the satisfaction score by 10%. This is by far the most succinct and direct and to the point where you can communicate your impact, outcome, and activities. You can also do it the other way around. You can start with your impact and then the outcomes and then the activities. So you start saying that in order to create that 10% increase of our customer satisfaction score, we had to identify the most severe customer pain points. That is why we did a lot of customer journey mapping and customer interviews. Both are fine, as long as you keep the 3 elements of the pyramid inside your communication. Okay, now that you know how to talk about your impact, not so much the activities and the outcomes, watch this video in which I talk about 3 mindsets that will keep you out of just working hard in order to be where you want to be. Thank you.